Us to Southminster Steinhauer United Church. As we gather here on this cold and snowy morning, we know that this is a place where when we arrive, that all of us work so hard to make this a safer space for all. No matter who you are, you're welcome here. It's a safe place to be yourself. This is a safer place to ask your questions, to explore our inner workings of our human experience. When we come here, we hope that this is a place where we seek to find wisdom for our living and to strengthen our intentions to live more closely to the highest values and the worthy goals of our lives and our living. This is a place of building community based on honest relationships and authentic spirituality. So whether you're here most times, all the time, hardly at all, or this is your first time, you're welcome in this space and we welcome you warmly. Today is the first Sunday in a 4-part series that we're going to explore our identities as people of this place and time. 4 aspects of our identity: our cosmic elemental selves, our human selves. Crying babies happen, that's okay. Our cosmic elemental selves, our human selves, our communal selves, and our unique individual selves. Over the next 4 weeks, we're going to explore those different ways we can think about who we are and what that might mean to how we are in our lives and in the world. So, being that today is the first day and the day for us to talk about our cosmic selves made of the elements, let's acknowledge the land on which we meet. This land doesn't belong to any of us. When we view it with broad and expansive vision, in fact, we see this land is no different from any land on the planet. It's our collective home. This is the planet that was forged when our universe was already 8.5 billion years old. In other words, our home is just a baby. That young planet cruising around her sun gradually cooled and would wait another long time for life to emerge. And as short a time as we've been resident, just a blip, really, in the long history of our planet. We've done so many things, haven't we? We've staked claims. We've surveyed. We've bought and sold. We've drawn lines and colored maps. And all the while, our planet has continued its circles around the sun, which continued its journey in the galaxy and among the millions and billions of other galaxies. She calmly rotates and creates this Goldilocks planet of ours. Perfect for us. And so we meet in this place that we foolishly call ours. So let's acknowledge the land upon which we live, this gift of life, this land that we borrow for but a wee short time. And so we light this candle as we do every time we gather in this space, and we let it remind us of that great flaring forth that began it all. Light and energy forged at the very, very beginning, of which life still is made and created. And so, in this light, and in all that it means to us, in all in which we share of it, may we speak words now that strengthen our intentions as we gather as a group of people on a Sunday morning, as we gather as a human species in this big, large world of ours. We are here in this time and place with our desire to cultivate a spiritual life. We come seeking ways to live fully and love deeply, to be inspired by knowledge and wisdom that can nudge us into a new consciousness. As we seek to be connected with all that's within us and around us, may we allow love to infuse us and flow from us. And may we open to the wisdom that invites us to know ourselves more fully and shape our living more deeply as those who walk a common road. May it be so.
All right. Yes, you got it. It's time for all ages. Come on up to the carpet if you want to come up to the carpet. Come on down. Hello, hello. I'm Allison. Nice to meet you. Hey, good to see you. Hi. Come on up. There's some room up here, too. Great. Hello. So, yeah, come on in. There's a spot right here. Great. Yep, come on in. Here's a spot. So, today we're talking about what we're made of. So, what our bodies are made of, does anyone know? Well, body parts. But when you go very, very small into the smallest bits of the body parts, oh, you might know, yeah? Molecules, yeah, atoms, and elements. So we're made of, yeah? Water, yeah. We're made of oxygen, hydrogen, that's a lot of water, nitrogen, and carbon, and a lot of other bits. But not as much of those bits. Anyway, a long time ago, they didn't know that yet, but they still thought we were made of elements. And they were so cool what they thought we were made of. Listen to what they thought we were made of. Fire, water, the wind or air, and earth are our bodies. So that's a really neat story. So I wanted to think about that story. And we're going to do a little mindfulness meditation about those elements. So I think you've done some mindfulness before. Being mindful is when you're paying attention, really close attention to what's happening right here, right now. Then you're being mindful. So I'll tell you a story about those elements, and you can be mindful. You can think really hard about the words that I'm saying and the ideas. So you got some options. You can sit up nice and straight, or you could lay down somewhere. Yep, it's a legit option. And then all of us, our options are to either close your eyes or to look down kind of at your own space. Okay, we're sitting up nice and tall. We're closing our eyes or looking down. Okay, here we go. So imagine that your body is made of wind or air. And you can imagine that by breathing in. There's air inside you. Breathe slow, deep breaths to feel the air, the wind inside your lungs. Breathe so that you can feel your belly going up and down. You're made of air. Okay, the next one's fire. So think about your skin. Does it feel warm? Can you feel what parts of your body are cold? What parts of your body are hot? Feel how warm you are, the warmth inside you, your body making energy, making you warm. Okay, you're also made of water. So there's lots of water inside our body. Our body is mostly made of water. I don't know if you can feel it, but you can imagine you could feel the water flowing in your blood, in your veins. And maybe you could feel your heart beating. Last one, you're also made of the earth. Feel how strong and solid you feel. You have bones holding you up. Your bones are hard and firm like the earth. Imagine you're strong and tall like a mountain. Thanks, everyone. That was really nice to feel like we're made of the earth. And it was good to practice being mindful. I don't know if you feel really relaxed right now, but working on mindfulness can help you feel really relaxed and enjoy life. So thanks for sharing that together.
In and around about the 6th century before the Common Era, a number of writers were collected together. Their writings were collected together under the name of Isaiah. These were writings that were passed down in ways that became scripture for Jews and Christians. And a very short passage from the 55th chapter of Isaiah. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. And mountains and hills before you shall burst into song. And all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Through these words and images from Judeo-Christian cultural roots, may we find wisdom for our living.
This poem is called The Black Maria, and it's the first section of a different cycle that's connected to the last one, but differently. After Neil deGrasse Tyson, black astrophysicist and director of the Hayden Planetarium, born in 1958, New York City, in his youth, deGrasse Tyson was confronted by police on more than one occasion when he was on his way to study stars. And he tells this story about, on one of the occasions, getting the cop coming because a neighbor called and he lives, and the cop ends up looking through the telescope. Wow. That version. Body of space, body of dark, body of light. The Skyview Apartments, circa 1973, a boy is kneeling on the rooftop. A boy who, it is important to mention here, his skin is brown, prepares his telescope, the weights and rods to better see the moon. His neighbor, it is important to mention here that she is white, calls the police because she suspects the brown boy of something, she does not know what at first, then turns with her looking his telescope into a gun, his duffel into a bag of objects thieved from the neighbors' houses, maybe even hers. And the police, it is important to mention that statistically they are also white, arrive to find the boy who has been turned by now into the suspect on the roof with a long black lens, which is, in the neighbor's mind, a weapon. And depending on who you are reading this, listening to this, you know that the boy is in grave danger, and you might have known somewhere quiet in your gut, you might have worried for him in the white space between lines 5 and 6, or maybe even earlier. You might be holding your breath for him right now because you know this story. It's a true story, though miraculously, in this version of the story anyway, the boy on the roof of the Skyview lives to tell the police that he is studying the night and moon, and lives long enough to offer them the copse of you through his telescope's long black eye, which, if I am spelling it out anyway, is the instrument he borrowed and the beautiful trouble he went through, lugging it up to the roof to better see the leopard body of space speckled with stars and the moon far off, much farther than, since I am spelling the thing out. The distance between the white neighbor who cannot see the boy who is her neighbor, who in fact is much nearer to her than to the moon, the boy who wants to understand the large and gloriously unhuman mysteries of the galaxy, the boy who, despite America, has not been killed by the murderous jury of his neighbor's imagination and wound. This poem wants only the moon in its hair and the boy on the roof, this boy on the roof of this poem with the moon in his heart, inside my own body as I write this poem. My body is making a boy, even as the radio calls out the Missouri Coroner's News, the Ohio Coroner's News 2015. My boy will nod for his milk and close his mouth around the black eye of my nipple. We will survive. How did it happen? The boy, the cops, my body in this poem, my milk pulling down into droplets of light as the baby drinks and drinks them down into the body that is his own. See it, splayed and sighing as the star in my arms. Maybe he will be the boy who studies stars. Maybe he will be, say it, the boy on the coroner's table, splayed and spangled by an officer's lead, as if he too weren't made of a trillion glorious cells and sentences trying to last. Leadless, remember the body's beginning, splendored with breaths turned by time into at least this song, this moment made, and the mackerel soul caught flashing inside the brief moment of the body's net, then whoosh back into the sea of space. The poem dreams of bodies always leadless, bearing only things ordinary as water and light.
Through the words of this contemporary American poet, may we find wisdom for our living.
Okay, so imagine my hair is really short, and I'm in like quick dry traveling pants and quick dry traveling t-shirt, and I'm in an airport abroad. All the other women in the airport are wearing dresses, except for me. So I'm getting a lot of curious and confused stares because of how I look. Like, who's this dude? And I have to pee. Everyone has to pee. So I didn't want to cause a scene, so I approached the women's bathroom slowly. And then to get in there without a fuss, I sort of sneaked really quickly. That was probably the worst tactic I could have taken. Needless to say, I got chased out of there pretty quickly, and I still had to pee. So anyway, this sort of thing is so rare for me, but it's so common for many people. I have a lot of advantages and a lot of ease out and about in the world because of how I look. We have a lot of privilege. As such, I rarely have to think about most aspects of my identity. If I'm out at night looking at the stars, I don't immediately become the suspect and assumed to have a gun. When I speak, I can expect to be taken seriously, I suppose because of my age, not too young, but not too old either, and because of my body's size, my slim privilege. I'm a third-generation white settler rather than a first- or second-generation Canadian, so I'm read as sort of a standard, harmless Canadian, even though I'm not Indigenous and I'm no less a settler here than a recent immigrant. Basically, I don't have to think about my identity as I walk out the door. When a baby is born, they are immediately, and sometimes very incorrectly, assigned their first identity. It's a boy, or it's a girl, or this baby's intersex. Many people see more characteristics on the baby's very skin through the made-up, socially constructed identity of race. But as the poet we just heard hopes, if only all we could see was that the newborn is a star in our arms, for that little one is indeed made of stars. To see their tiny body as bearing not gender or race, but as bearing only things as ordinary as water and light. Identities can keep us apart in separate boxes and disconnected communities, but maybe if these elemental things were the labels we claimed, maybe identities could help join us together. We are cosmic people. The astrophysicist from the poem, Neil deGrasse Tyson, explains what this means. He says, "The atoms of our bodies are traceable to stars that manufactured them in their cores and exploded these enriched ingredients across our galaxy billions of years ago." He goes on, "For this reason," he says, "we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and we are atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. We are not figuratively, but literally stardust." It's literally what we're made of. You beautiful stardust people. So, pardon me, let's come back to Earth and bring this closer to home. You've been in Edmonton quite some time now. Your body, you, are well over half water. So you are made of the North Saskatchewan River. We are the North Saskatchewan. It's in our river valley, it's in our cells, it's meandering from the Rockies across the prairie, and it's flowing right now in our veins. Okay, get ready. I have some photos here of your body. Okay, here's your body. Okay, warning, this is going to be a photo of blood. Okay, a picture of your friend's body. And here's one more of you. When we look at the river, we could see ourselves, or at least part of ourselves, or a loved one. And our energy is the sun's, which was passed through the sky, from the sun, passed through grains and plants to us and our bodies made of light. Some of my body is also made of the milk and grains from this morning's cereal. You are what you eat. No, but really, you are. It's fascinating that we really are a part of the wilderness, that we are nature. This feels calming to me and grounding too. But does it matter? Could it mean anything for us? In this world where we, the subject, can measure that, the object, joining or melding the separation between us and the natural world would be a radical act. Where Western science is the way to know things, it sounds countercultural, but it is thanks to science that I know just how truly I am nature. Sitting with this knowing could vastly change how we view environmental action and how we feel about justice work around climate, resources, plastic, water. Suddenly, it's personal. Embracing our identity with the cosmos and with the land, what I do, hurtful or nurturing, I do to myself. Relating to nature not as subject-object, but as subject-subject, could also change the stories we tell about the earth. Is the land under our feet right now Mother Earth? Maybe. But maybe the earth could be a long-lost friend from childhood to rekindle a sense of fun with. Or maybe the land is our beloved, instilling passion and creativity. We could live as if the mountains and the hills might burst into song. We could act as if the trees of the field shall clap their hands. The stories we tell shape how we think about the land and then how we act. Okay, so we're entertaining this idea that we are the wild. So if we love and care about ourselves, we should love and care about others and nature. Nice, great. But wait, do we love ourselves? For many people in the West, we aren't shown how to love ourselves. I love my body. Could many of us say that? Some of us were raised in a spiritual tradition that is, on paper, wonderful about the body in some ways. I mean this lovely metaphor that the divine, the sacred, becomes body. But the way it was taught to some of us, we sure didn't get the feeling that our sexual, messy, squishy bodies are sacred. Far from it. And then there's the body itself. It aches, it hurts, it gets old, it causes us pain, it gets sick. Sometimes it gets very sick. Plus, it doesn't darn well look how we want it to look. Why would we love it? Well, we are our bodies. It would feel good to love ourselves. A couple of years ago, I went to Poland and Ukraine with my cousin to find the town where my great-grandma was from. Kobylinka Wałęska. The town's in Poland now. It used to be part of the Ukraine, but the border moved. I was hoping to connect with my cultural identity and to the land that my ancestors are from. The land, I might add, looks a lot like where they ended up in southern Saskatchewan. So that's the Ukraine. It looks just like Defoe, Saskatchewan. So in the Ukraine, the older folks looked a lot like my grandma. The people my mom's age, their bodies looked like my mom's. For some reason, this was quite surprising to me. I don't know why. So I love my grandma. I love my mom. My body is from my mom and from all my ancestors. If I love my mom, I want to love my body. What a wonderful way to honor her, to love the body I was given. And if this body wants to look Ukrainian, well, that only makes sense. So when I'm a stooped old baba someday, sturdy and round, well, yay, how marvelous. By honoring my body, I honor all the bodies before me that gave me the body I have. And what a wonderful way to connect to nature, to love our natural bodies. So there's self-love leading to love of nature, but maybe one of the gifts of this nature connection idea is the other way around. We are the wild. And if we love nature, we should know that actually means we love our bodies too. These bodies, layered with so many identities, some chosen, some imposed, but our bodies, actually made of just ordinary things: stars, water, and light.
One of the things that we've concocted to enhance this 4-part series that we're entering into this week is a time that we like to call
That's not God, that's the Lion King.
That was Mufasa from The Lion King, not a voice from above.
Yes.
I couldn't resist.
Remember who you are.
Remember.
Simba.
One of the things that we think can help us remember who we are over these next 4 weeks is in creating space in our homes and in our lives for the symbols of our identity. We have symbols of our identity everywhere. We're wearing them, we're being them, the way we decorate our homes, the things we put in places that are meaningful on our desks or on our dressers or wherever. Those are symbols of identity, and we thought that over the course of the next 4 weeks we might invite us to create very intentional places of identity in our homes. Maybe it's like me, I'm going to try on my kitchen table to create a little area where there's some symbols of what we talk about in these 4 weeks. So I invite you to do the same, to think about something that might, for you, symbolize your identity as a cosmic, elemental, wild one. Something to put in front of you to remind you over the next little while that, oh yeah, this is who I am, and I want to remember. So just because we say that and invite you doesn't mean you have that any of us have a clue of what that might be. So as some examples, Allison and I thought we might share 2 examples or 3 of what we've been thinking of might be our symbols of our elemental identity.
So for this Cosmic Elemental Week, I picked water from the North Saskatchewan. And I also brought this. This is from the Ukraine. So some wheat to remind me of the land, and also getting a little bit away from my, into my cultural identity. Yeah, so those are the things I'll put out this week.
Allison is so simple, and mine is so complicated. On my table this week is going to be my my universe beads, and I've got to tell you just very briefly what that means. At summer camp 2 summers ago, we led the children through an experience of knowing who we are and where we come from and the history of the universe and how we're a part of that. And I'll leave you the stories of me dressing up as the universe, because that was fun. But what we all created together were universe beads with beads that symbolized how we are part of this cosmic history and that we're not separate from it. We're totally a part of it. So the very first bead on my universe bead is the Big Bang bead. It's the sparkliest too. So although there's beads for the stars and the sun and the earth and water and air and all of that comes all the way down to my bead that has a C on it for Chris, my Big Bang bead on my universe beads will be my symbol of cosmic identity this week. And we invite you to find something in your life that makes meaning for you. when we go from this place, we go with the hope that the wisdom that we share, the community that we build, goes with us in important and meaningful ways, that it might live with us inwardly, bodily, emotionally, physically, spiritually, that we might go from this place changed and make an impact in whatever way that might be, in our own families, in our own homes, in our communities, and in our world. So as we go, may we know that whenever we blow out this candle, we're reminded that the energy and light are all part of the same equation, and although we might blow out the light, the energy remains. Energy is never lost in our universe. It's always recycled, reused, and finding itself in different forms. May the same be true for us as we go from this place. May we take this light. Hey, it's Christopher. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch last week's video, click this button right here. If you can manage it and can donate to SSUC to help us continue this video page, click right here. And for any information that you want about SSUC and our programs, visit our website right there.